Hi and welcome to Tales from the GULAG, and today is the 31st of March 2019 with some thoughts on Jacinda's lovely words. I just wish she meant them. In a great display of virtue signalling, New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern got up and gave a great speech to a crowd gathered at a public service organised to mourn the dead at the mosque attack in Christchurch earlier in March 2019, just recently. She says, "But even viruses can exist in places where they are not welcome. Racism exists, but it is not welcome here. An assault on the freedom of anyone to practice their faith or religion is not welcome here. Violence and extremism in all its forms is not welcome here." And I agree. They're great words. And what jerk would not agree with them? I certainly agree. But did she actually mean them? I, for one, am quite prepared to condemn violence and bigotry, and I do so. Brenton Tarrant didn't actually claim to do his attack in the name of Christianity, but if he did, I can tell him pretty authoritatively that Jesus did not tell him to do it. Okay? But while Christchurch and the world condemned this attack, meanwhile, Christian schools were attacked in Nigeria, leaving not dozens but hundreds dead. Where was the condemnation here? Was it that such attacks are so commonplace in places like Nigeria that they are no longer newsworthy enough to receive media coverage, worldwide condemnation, or even a memorial service? Or is it that to condemn such attacks is Islamophobic and it will bring approbation on you? And then, meanwhile, it emerges that back in 2013, 2 New Zealand jihadists were killed in Yemen, and guess where they were radicalised? At a certain mosque in Christchurch. Jacinda was photographed standing next to a certain Imam, Ahmed Bamji. David Wood, in the clip linked below, shows Bamji speaking at a Love Aotearoa rally. And by the way, if you watch the clip, notice the flags, the terrorist scarves, and also, for that matter, the rainbow gay rights flags. But as Bamji spoke at this rally, he is spewing forth anti-Jewish rhetoric as he blames the Jews for the Christchurch massacre. Mossad did it. We should not blame the victims, but the truth is that this mosque does have a history that is a part of the picture. Now, to lovely Jacinda. Jacinda Ardern heads a Labor government, like our own Australian Labor Party, and Labor parties and leftist groups around the world. They are socialist. Jacinda was once president of the Socialist Youth. The word says plenty. Lovely Jacinda is a socialist. What do socialists stand for? Well, there is all that economic stuff and so on and so forth, but you look at their actions. In 2017, New Zealand's Parliament banned the Lord's Prayer and mention of the Queen in their prayers. So, meanwhile, Parliament over there recently opened with an Islamic call to prayer. What happened to separation of mosque and state? What happened to the separation of church and state? Christian prayer has been banned, Jesus and the Queen are banned from prayer, but Islamic prayer apparently is okay. Oh, that picture with Imam Ahmed Banji? Well, Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Living, is a non-political self-help book, but it was banned from New Zealand's leading bookshops because he was photographed with a guy wearing a shirt that sported "I'm a proud Islamophobe." Being photographed next to someone means that you must support their case. Okay? Well, lovely Jacinda was photographed next to a Jew-hating imam, so she must hate Jews, right? According to the logic. Only Jordan Peterson has repeatedly come out in condemnation of the alt-right and any forms of white supremacism, while lovely Jacinda's actions match the photos. She is clearly anti-Christian and, for that matter, anti-New Zealand and anti-Semitic because she is a socialist. Now, to Brendan Tarrant. We can no longer get hold of his manifesto in which he explains his motive unless you're prepared to pay the government $100 for it. Funny that. But from reports that I have picked up, it seems that Tarrant was a nutter who latched onto this and that cause, who derided the impotence of democracy to deal with the Islamic problem and therefore turned to violence as the solution. In short, he was trying to incite a race war. Now, lovely Jacinda and her leftist buddies quickly blamed the right for this violence and Donald Trump for inspiring it. Only his manifesto condemned Trump for not being extreme enough. Interesting, that one. And I can see why Jacinda doesn't want people to read the real thing. Still, how do we deal with terrorism? Lovely Jacinda's program is disarm the population, get rid of the guns that will allow people to defend themselves in this situation rather than waiting for the police to turn up. Restrict free speech. Stop people from posting conservative stuff on the internet, and so to shut down any debate. And more Islam. Violence, including political violence, is to be condemned, whether it be on a mosque or a Christian school or on a Jewish village in Israel. I suggest the real solution is truth. I would say allow Tarrant's manifesto to be circulated. Allow the Quran, Mein Kampf, Das Kapital, to be circulated. Then people will get to read them for themselves, evaluate their ideologies for themselves. Allow people to read Tarrant's manifesto so that they can see him for the nut job that he actually is. Lovely Jacinda wants to do the opposite, except that perhaps the Quran is okay. Lovely Jacinda's solution is in fact to enable political violence. Tarrant's own manifesto was an argument for that. You shut down free speech and you leave violence as the only option for dealing with your problems. No. Truth is the answer. So it seems that we may support lovely Jacinda's words that violence and racism are not welcome. Only we should wish that she actually meant it. It does seem that some racism is actually okay and in fact should be protected.